Have you ever bought a product thinking you were making an eco-friendly choice, only to find out it was all a lie? This tactic has a name: greenwashing. And today, we're going to expose how it works, who's doing it, and why it's one of the biggest obstacles in the fight for a healthier planet. So, what exactly is greenwashing? Simply put, it's when a company spends more time and money marketing itself as sustainable than it does on actually minimizing its environmental impact. It's a clever and often deceptive marketing strategy designed to make you feel good about your purchases. While the company continues its not-so-green practices behind the curtain, think of it like a wolf in sheep's clothing. But the wolf is a massive corporation, and the sheep's clothing is a pretty green label with a leaf on it. Let's look at some real-world examples. The fast fashion industry is a prime offender. You've probably seen major brands launch special conscious or eco collections. They're often made with a small percentage of recycled materials, and the marketing is filled with images of nature and happy, healthy people. But here's the catch. The business model of fast fashion itself is inherently unsustainable. It relies on producing huge volumes of clothing at lightning speed, using cheap synthetic fabrics derived from fossil fuels, and often exploiting low-wage labor. That one eco t-shirt does, and magically erase the millions of tons of textile waste generated by the rest of their products, most of which end up in landfills after just a few wears. So while you think you're buying a solution, you're often just funding the problem in a slightly greener package. Then we have the big players, the oil and gas giants. These companies are masters of greenwashing. They run multi-million-dollar advertising campaigns showcasing their investments in renewable energy, like wind and solar. They talk about a net-zero future and feature pristine landscapes in their commercials. But if you look at their annual reports, you'll often find that their spending on fossil fuel exploration and extraction dwarfs their investment in renewables by a massive margin. It's a classic case of misdirection. They want you to focus on the tiny green sapling they planted over here, so you don't notice the giant forest they're cutting down over there. Airlines are another interesting case. You might have seen options to book a carbon-neutral flight by paying a little extra to offset your emissions. This usually involves funding projects like planting trees. It sounds great in theory, right? The problem is, many of these carbon offset programs are highly questionable. It can take decades for a newly planted tree to absorb the amount of carbon an airplane emits in just a few hours. Furthermore, there's often a lack of verification to ensure these projects are even effective or permanent. So, while it eases your guilt, it doesn't really neutralize the environmental cost of your flight. It's more of a feel-good fee than a real solution. And it doesn't stop there. Walk down any grocery store aisle, and you'll be bombarded with greenwashing. Food and beverage companies love to use vague, unregulated terms on their packaging. Words like natural, eco-friendly, or sustainably sourced. What do these even mean? In many cases, absolutely nothing. There's no legal definition or certification required to use them. A snack full of processed ingredients can be labeled natural just because its flavorings are derived from a natural source. A coffee brand can claim it's sustainably sourced based on its own internal, unverified standards. It's designed to create a halo effect, making the product seem healthier and more ethical than it actually is. Perhaps one of the most infamous examples of corporate deception was the Dieselgate scandal. Several major automobile makers were caught deliberately programming their diesel engines with a defeat device. This software could detect when the cars were being tested and would switch to a low-emissions mode. But out on the open road, under normal driving conditions, these clean diesel cars were emitting nitrogen oxides at up to 40 times the legal limit. They spent years and millions of dollars marketing these vehicles as a powerful, fuel-efficient, and environmentally friendly alternative, all while knowing they were actively cheating the system and polluting the air we breathe. So how do they trick you so effectively? They use a specific playbook. First, there are the buzzwords, as we mentioned. Vague and meaningless terms like eco, green, and earth-friendly are thrown around without any proof. A product isn't eco-friendly just because the company says it is. Look for specific certifications from trusted third-party organizations. Next is the use of nature imagery. They plaster their packaging and ads with pictures of lush forests, crystal-clear oceans, and cute animals. This creates a subconscious association in your mind. This product must be good for the planet because it reminds me of nature. It's a purely emotional appeal, designed to bypass your critical thinking. Another tactic is selective transparency. Company might loudly broadcast one single positive initiative. For example, they might announce they've switched to 100% renewable energy at their headquarters. That's great, but what about the emissions from their supply chain, manufacturing processes, or the transportation of their goods, which might account for over 90% of their total carbon footprint? They're showing you the tip of the iceberg while hoping you look at what's lurking beneath the surface. And as we discussed with airlines, there are the carbon offset illusions. The idea that you can simply pay a small fee to cancel out your pollution is a dangerous myth. While some offset projects are legitimate and beneficial, many are not. It creates a moral license, allowing corporations and individuals to continue polluting with a clear conscience, believing their impact has been magically erased. True climate action requires reducing emissions at the source, not just trying to clean up the mess afterward. So, why does all of this matter so much? First, it deceives well-intentioned consumers like you and me. We're trying to make responsible choices, but greenwashing manipulates our desire to do good. We end up spending our hard-earned money on products that don't align with our values, and in some cases, do more harm than good. Second, it hurts the genuinely sustainable companies. The small businesses and innovative startups that are truly investing in ethical practices, circular economies, and real environmental solutions have to compete with giant corporations that have massive marketing budgets to just pretend to be green. This creates an unfair marketplace where the honest players struggle to be seen and heard. And consumer trust in all green claims is eroded. Most importantly, greenwashing is a dangerous delay tactic in the fight against climate change. It creates a false sense of progress. It makes it seem like corporations are taking action and the problem is being solved, when in reality, they are just polishing the brass on the Titanic. It's a distraction that allows destructive business as usual to continue, pushing us closer to irreversible environmental tipping points. We can't afford to be pacified by green stickers on pollution. We need real systemic change. The good news is the tide is starting to turn. Governments and regulators around the world are beginning to crack down. The European Union, the United States, and countries like the UAE are all introducing stricter rules and guidelines for environmental advertising. Companies are facing lawsuits and massive fines for making false or misleading green claims. This is a crucial step toward holding corporations accountable for their words. But we can't just wait for governments to act. As consumers, we have immense power. So what can you do? Be a skeptic. And when you see a green claim, ask questions. Does the company provide specific data or evidence to back it up? Is it certified by a reputable independent organization like Green Seal, Fair Trade, or the Forest Stewardship Council? Be wary of vague language and pretty pictures. Do a quick search on the company. What are environmental groups and news outlets saying about their actual practices? Support the companies that are transparent and genuinely committed to sustainability, even if they cost a little more. Your purchasing decisions send a powerful message to the market about what you value. Finally, talk about it. Share this video. Discuss greenwashing with your friends and family. The more people who are aware of these deceptive tactics, the less effective they will be. By becoming more informed and critical consumers, we can see through the green-tinted marketing, reward true environmental leadership, and demand the authentic action our planet desperately needs. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that cuts through the noise. Let me know in the comments if you've ever spotted a product you suspected of greenwashing. Let's keep the conversation going. See you in the next one.